Hey,
Hello, welcome to the live stream of consciousness. We're back.
welcome.
We're bad. You're black. I'm mad. Or
Welcome
something.
to the new year, my friend.
Yes, welcome to the new year. I appreciate seeing you here. It's fabulous.
Yes.
Life is good.
Oh yeah.
Um, well,
Good.
I'm being positive.
Well, right, we're supposed to be positive. We're on the live stream of
I know,
conscience,
I know.
inspiring other people.
I just said, I said, this is not fair that I have to go on every week and do a spiritual show, even when I'm not like in the best of spiritual spirits.
Well, but you're in the moment, which is now.
Yeah, I am. I'm very much in the moment, and I'm living my life. I poured myself a little drink so I could try to
Whoa,
relax a little bit. Very unlike me.
nice, nice. Cheers, my friend.
Cheers! Happy New Year, and Happy New Year to everybody out there in
Yes.
the
Oh,
YouTube land.
Happy New Year. I haven't even said hello. Hey, welcome. Happy New Year. We've got Ninja Kitty. We've got Leona. We've got Angela. We've got Casey Olson. So stoked for this. Bo is a legend. What's up, Casey? Nice to
Oh yes, Bo's
have you
work is
here.
amazing. If I could be any sort of
What's up,
artist,
Tim?
I would be Bo. I love his work. I'm like, I
Yeah.
like, I've kind of dabbled in kind of similar to his style, but I've really not had the patience.
Yeah. Oh my God.
And my back's always been a bit of a problem. But like when I look at his stuff, it really like as a person who, I'm a bit of an artist, and I
Yeah.
see it and I go, oh man, like this is why I wanted to draw things. Like it's so pretty. All of his work is just so pretty.
Well,
Very, very inspiring for me.
you're jumping ahead of the game,
I know I'm jumping ahead, but just because
absolutely
our people
no,
are
no,
talking about how great Bo
absolutely
is.
for sure. That's the amazing thing about our guest this year. I cannot tell you how excited I am and how much this represents for the live stream of consciousness and for me personally. I had a conversation with Bo this week just to see what he was about and to get him set up to come on, and I was just so excited in just talking to him. So it's like, I've realized that the live stream of consciousness has become such a like respite for feeling good. Every week I come here, I look forward to seeing your face, to seeing our viewers there, and yeah, this is such a great thing. I'm excited for this year, and
Yeah,
um
you got to forgive me, guys. I'm the type of person who I like to give everybody my best, and when I feel any less than my best, I kind of want to hide because I don't like to give not super great vibes. I like to be somebody who's really positive and helps make other people feel good. So when I'm feeling like a little, just I was like I went into the new
but
year
you always
very
inevitably make
excited.
people feel good. It's just
Oh,
your
thank you.
I mean,
Um, but I went into the new year feeling really great, and I still feel really great in general. I just
yeah.
like there's like a lot to do, and I'm excited for a lot of the things, but at the same time, it's like a lot of stress and a lot of work
Yeah.
and sort of
Yeah.
reclaiming some things
Jesse,
for
you're
myself.
human and we feel you.
Thank you, I
It
appreciate it.
reminds me of I found one of those a little meme. I'm not a big on memes, but sometimes I find them, they're inspirational. And I found a little one this week that was it was a little character that was like talking to another character about the new year, and he was all nervous. He's like, "Oh my god, things are so uncertain in 2022. What's going to happen?" And the other guy's just sitting there and he goes, "I think 2022 is going to bring flowers." And the guy's like, "What do you mean? How could you be sure?" And he's like, "I'm planting some seeds." And it was just like, I was like, man, I needed that so
I
bad.
like that. I like that a lot. I
It
thought
was
that was going to the place of because they come every year, like because
no,
they
no. It's
constantly there's flowers
you know what?
every year. There's
How do you know it's going to be good?
flowers.
Because you're planting the
I'm
seeds.
planting the seed.
That's
Well,
it.
yeah, and I tell you what, I mean, like to jump into the normal conversation of like what's going on. I am indeed planting seeds. I mean, that's a little bit of like frustration, but cool. Like, I mean, really, if I had a better view of things are very cool. I've got a show that I'm producing with my friends at O'Malley Productions, who produce Food Paradise. That's going to be
Oh,
hosted by my father,
oh,
and I've been just working on scheduling to get us in to shoot the sizzle reel, because we're going to be pitching it to networks at the end of the month. And that's very cool. Very, I
that's
wrote the
amazing, dude.
yeah, I wrote the pitch for the show, and I'm really excited to do that with my father and with my friends at
Amazing.
O'Malley Productions.
Yeah.
And then actually, me and Julie, my sweet girlfriend, who I'll have to have on the show sometime, is we had a production company that was interested in us as hosts for this tattoo show, and the
Okay.
show didn't get picked up, but they really liked me and Julie, so they
Yeah, you were
asked
talking about that.
yeah,
Yeah.
so they asked me to put together some possible pitches for other vehicles for her and I to host something, which is cool. So I'm working on that. About to start work on this comic for Come On, the Others, in a couple weeks, which is really cool.
Awesome.
And I'm going to be taking King of Kings, which, for those of you who remember, was a comic book that I was trying to raise some money to get printed and finish a couple
Yeah, I
years ago
remember.
now. We're take two. I'm doing it in smaller stints, and I think kind of that's a little bit of the thing that's like is most stressful for me. Well, I did that right as me and my ex-wife broke up,
I
and like
remember I
I
was helping you with the
you were,
Kickstarter
and I
graphic.
was
Yeah,
just
yeah.
seeing the thank you to you, and like while I was getting that stuff together, and I did so much work to get that thing together,
Yeah.
and
It's great. It's a
I,
great idea. It's all
thank
good
you. It
stuff.
is
Yeah.
great. It really like, and I say that because it's not just me. I co-wrote it with Mark Polton. Our artist David Witt. Everybody owns a stake in it.
Well,
It's
tell some of the viewers what it's about, I
well,
guess, because I don't think
for you
everybody
guys who
knows.
don't know, and I hope you'll support when when I get it up and running, which will probably be by next week or something like that. But we're not raising that much money. It's just to print the book, because we already finished most of it.
Mhm.
To print the first issue and to pay for the finishing of the rest of the series. Uh, it's an absurdist comedy starring religious figures in a battle of the bands to determine the reigning ideology of the day. So the idea is that Jesus, backed by his famous backup singer God, has been winning the centennial King of Kings event every 100 years. So he's been the reigning King of Kings, but this is a title that you can win if you beat out the competition in this event. So we've got
So cool.
16 different religions represented, and the Norse religion is like basically they're our heroes because they're trying to get revenge on Catholicism for the Northern Crusades, which those of you who know anything about the Crusades, the Northern Crusades literally like wiped out a lot of the Norse religion. It forcefully converted people who believed in the Norse gods and prayed to Odin to become Jesus fans overnight. And so we did this comedy that's all about this sort of like, it's like American Idol
Comedy,
meets
comic book, rock and
professional
roll.
wrestling. Yeah, it's a real
Wrestling,
mix.
right.
And me and my buddy Freddie Scott, we wrote a promotional single for it. That's this amazing heavy metal song that me and my father both sang on
Oh, I wish I
as
was prepared.
Odin.
I would have
And
brought up the video. That was
it's
awesome. I
really
love
cool.
that. It's great.
I'll get you some links next
Yeah,
week
yeah,
when
we'll talk about
when
it
we go
when
live with
it's
the
up.
thing, and
Yeah,
we'll
yeah.
talk about it. So you
Cool.
can check it because it really is a spiritual kind of thing.
It's great.
It's really my love letter to the life of Brian for those Monty Python fans out there. The style of the art is very Terry Gilliam-esque.
Mhm.
And it's a really fun book. It's just been sitting there because basically the previous time I did it, I got to a certain point and I didn't have money aside to promote it. And I just sort
Right,
of like was stuck kind of bringing it directly to my friends and my family. And I
right,
felt very weird about it. Like I was just basically trying to like sell my friends and my
right.
family on
Well,
this
now you got
book.
a good platform. We'll promote it here and,
Well, yeah, with here, and I do a channel on YouTube called Thinking Critical, which is really cool. My buddy Wes, we go on there. Me and my buddy Aaron, we go on there as commentators, and also me and Aaron are going to start doing like weekly toy collectible things on their
cool.
channel.
Awesome.
So I've got a couple different avenues to promote it now, and then my lovely girlfriend Julie, who's sitting on the bed and chilling out and watching us
She's
as we
got to
do
get
this.
her own theme song. I should have a little button I can press.
She is
Mention.
really, really enterprising and very good at,
Awesome.
kind of managing and like getting these things together. And the previous time I was trying to raise a lot of money to just do it all in one fell swoop and like finish the whole series. This time I'm just going one issue at a time. And we already
Okay.
finished the first issue. So it's
Awesome.
only like $1,400, to print
Get
a
it printed.
thousand copies of the first issue.
Sweet.
So I mean, like the
That's
amount
not
of
a
work
lot.
that has
Yeah,
to
we
be
could raise
done,
that.
it's like nothing.
Yeah.
So I mean, really, like
Awesome.
we're gonna have like a very small amount that like is like our top of what we're raising, and we'll beat that, immediately, and then it'll just be
Awesome.
everything we raise after that'll be gravy, and it'll go towards the rest of the series. But and a lot of this also got spurned on by the fact that I'm going to do a convention in Boston in April.
Oh,
So I
sweet.
was like, if everybody who knows me knows that I had a couple fires and I lost my toy collection, I lost so much of my stuff, but I lost all the things that I would sell and sign at conventions. So like old copies of Evil Ernie, the Mythic Legions comic book that I produced for Four Horsemen Studios, and so many other things that I made.
Oh,
They
old
all,
boxes of those prints you had.
yeah, even like photographs and stuff like that. They wanted me to come down and like, as like a pseudo celebrity and sign autographs. And I really don't,
Right.
that's not really what I prefer to do. So I just started to go to Julie, like, I need comics to sign, I need
Pseudo celebrity.
copies. Yeah.
Jesse Blaze, pseudo
Well,
celebrity.
well, I mean, that's
We
me
know you're
being
more than that, buddy. Come on.
I just don't like,
I know what
that's
you're
not
saying.
my thing.
No, I know what you're saying.
I like to be giving ideas to people and giving something that somebody can take home. And the idea that like I'm going to sign like a little picture of myself just seems so silly.
Just for being you, right? You want to
Yeah,
show,
exactly,
here's
just
what
for
I'm working
existing.
on. Yeah, here's what I'm working
exactly. So like, but I love to be able to go there and, for those of you who have checked out Blacklight District, which you can still check out at blacklightdistrict.co, which is my music comic book project that I did with Image
on. Amazing
Comics.
stuff. Yeah.
Was really, really fun. And like, but again, like I just don't have any physical copies of the book. So, right now I'm just like, all right, I really want to go to this convention. I want to do this stuff, but like, I got to print all these things. And it's just been making me
You
feel
gotta
a
get
little
back
bit
up
like
on your feet.
a ghost man that I don't
hear
like
you.
have any of these things. And
Right.
I have to get them all together. So it's just, I like put myself in this position where I was bringing up all these weird feelings for myself about like, doing this the first time and not really succeeding at it and feeling a little bit
you
like
stop it with the weird feelings now, all right? Because
Thank you. Well,
it's
what? It feels better
it's
being able to use this as a therapy post. And
there
now
you
there
go.
you go. I did exactly what you said I do, Michael. Therapy for Jesse.
Listen, it's a good segue because something that I've been experiencing lately, and part of what brought us to tonight and tonight's guest is the art community and the creative community. So I think it's actually a great time for you to get back up on your horse and reinvent yourself. For me, I'm a part of a couple of groups on Facebook. One of them is called Break Away from the Everyday. I think that's where I first encountered our guest today. Our guest, I'm going to name him by name. His name is Bowen Bramwell. He's an illustrator who I started seeing his work, and it brought up a lot of old school what's it called, inspiration for me as far as art goes. I mean, I used to draw, I used to do more of the fine art stuff, and then I moved into more of the video
You
and the
too.
graphic stuff.
You like looked at his work.
Yeah, oh yeah, I love that
inspiring.
fine, intricate, that really
Black and white, pen and ink.
stream of consciousness kind of drawing. It really is amazing stuff. And just being who I am and what this show is all about, I said, let me reach out and see if he wants to be on the show. And of course he agreed. And to my excitement, we had a great conversation. He's an amazing guy. I can't wait to bring him on. I'm going to bring him on in 2 seconds, but I'm super excited because I didn't know this, but this is his first appearance on a podcast. So I'm freaking so psyched because this guy he's going to blow up. He is going to be
he's so
amazing.
lovely.
So I know a lot of his friends are out there watching. Hello to everybody who's been so quiet.
So, did I say this already? Because in case I didn't say this, I should say, to push some of our other wonderful guests that we've had, our friend Brian Lahr, who made those amazing tarot decks. I still haven't given away all of the presents this year because I haven't been able to exchange gifts yet with my brothers and my sisters and their fiance and wife. But I was able to for Christmas, I got for my siblings, for all the spouses and my sister, I got everybody decks. So I
Oh, nice.
got 2 Oracle decks and
Beautiful.
2 Angel card decks. Oh, actually, here Julie's handed me because Julie got one of them. I got
Nice.
Julie one of the Oracle decks. Oh no, sorry, I got her
Awesome.
one of the tarot decks, and this
Right.
is them. And just like to show for Brian because it's so freaking
Yeah.
cool.
Well, you know what?
Like,
No,
and
no,
I know
close
he's
that.
super
Put that
excited.
away. Put that
Wait,
away.
put it away. Why we're gonna
Yeah,
have it
yeah.
back? So we
We're
can
gonna
show
have
the
him on.
picture?
No, we're gonna have
Oh
him
yeah.
on. Yeah,
Okay.
I
All
want to
right.
feature that stuff.
It's
Yeah, yeah.
very, very
But I'm
cool.
glad you're excited because Brian is
No, I'm
amazing.
so excited. He's such a great guy, and I
Awesome.
know,
And
I'm
that's
sure that
so that's kind of the one of the things I was saying about this show and how cool it is. It's just brought some of the most amazing people to the table. So
yeah. Well,
let
I'm
me
sure
let
that
me
he was so happy and so proud to send them
yeah,
out.
yeah,
And I just wanted to
absolutely.
say to the audience, if anybody like still owes somebody a Christmas present or you got some Christmas money and you're looking for something cool, I'm pretty sure it's on Indiegogo. You can still find
Oh,
the
is he still
Wizard of
there?
Odd tarot. It's like, still up or whatever, and go to his store and get them because it's awesome and he could use your support, and they are available and they are super cool. But yeah, let's try to get Brian on like next week or something like that, just so he can promote
Cool.
him before his campaign ends.
We will do that. Awesome.
Okay, cool.
Cool. So let's bring us back to this week and this moment.
My apologies.
Jesse Blaze, always running. So one of my favorite new people, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for coming and thank you for being on with us. Bo, here he is, Bowen Bramwell. Thank
What's up, guys?
you. What's happening?
Whoa, thank you so much for coming on the show. Thank you for being here, my friend. I'm so
Thank you for
excited to hear
having
this
me.
is your first time getting to talk up some of your. Oh my goodness, is that one of your pieces behind
Yeah,
you?
that's my big one.
Oh wow, it's so
She's
beautiful.
about 4 by 3 feet. Took about 350 hours, and did it during quarantine. That's actually how I started my business. Was that piece. So
Your consistent pen stroke is incredible, man. I really like, he sent me just a few pieces I guess last week because Michael's been all excited and he immediately got me excited. Your style is one of my favorite, there's a, sort of a realm of artistry of like, certain things that are, a little bit similar. And oh my God, of your pen and ink, he sent me this guy. I don't know if we can see it in here. Wait,
Oh
let's
yeah,
hold
I'm
on.
gonna. You know
oh
what?
yeah, that was a fun
Let's
piece.
Oh wow, man, it's so
yeah.
beautiful, and
Let's
like
share the work
I just like I'm
while we're
like
here.
so jealous because it's gorgeous, and our immediate question over here was like, wow, how long does that take? He must have some patience because they're just like there is just so much detail in every image, but larger than that, I'm just so impressed by the consistency to what you lay out and just when you see it all done, it's like style is just sort of confidence and consistency in like what you're doing, and it's just so bold and consistent and
Amazing. Yeah.
beautiful. I mean, really, like when these finished pieces, I like seriously, like every time he sent me one, I was just kind of like, ah, that is so beautiful. Oh
Thank
my
you.
goodness. No, really,
Yeah, we
like
have
so gorgeous.
sunshine saying so let's everybody's we're talking it up, but let me bring it on screen so people can see it.
Yeah,
Hopefully
show off some
hopefully
stuff.
the screen does it some justice. I don't know how this kind of stuff is showing up on your
Oh
screens,
my
folks, but
goodness. So cool.
really Jesse is so right on with this. And I think even before we started talking to Bo, when we
Mushrooms are
started
my
talking about
friends.
this, it's just the kind of artwork that when you're looking at it, you just it's kind of you have this feeling from it. It's like you feel how complete it is, or just I don't know what it is, man. Bo, it's something about how you laid it down. And hopefully I can do this. I think I can actually zoom in here. I can. Oh, good, nice.
There
So
you go.
look at this artwork. I mean, this is just really
It's just, but I mean, like,
no words.
I hope these compliments mean something to you, but like, sometimes when you see people do of similar style, um, there'll be sort of aspects of it that are beautiful. But when you like pull your view back and you look at the whole thing,
Mhm.
they aren't always balanced.
Cohesive.
Your pieces are so cohesive and so balanced. It really, like, they're mind-blowing. Look at this thing.
Thank
You know,
you.
you were talking earlier,
So
Jesse. You were talking
beautiful.
about the artwork of the Life of Brian and Terry Gilliam and these things. And you know,
Oh,
it's funny because I wasn't even thinking about that, but now that I'm looking at this, it's like the stories that are being told here and
well, there is some of that
energy,
because
dude. The energy that you've brought out
his
of the pen and the ink is amazing.
the
Thank
thing
you.
about Terry Gilliam, who I don't find his artwork to be like so as good as Bo's, but it's
Wow.
very
Thank you.
bold. It's very bold. You know what he lays down. He puts forth very bold images. And Bo,
It speaks
your
to you.
stuff
Yeah,
is
it
so
speaks to you.
bold. Can we go back to just the previous piece for 1 second?
Of course. Yeah, hold on.
Because I just want to say, like, see, like in this spiral, like the consistency to the dark and the light within the spiral, like if you zoom back out, like that's the thing that impresses me the most is just how consistent you have made the dark parts and the light parts, and like it's not just like there's no accident here. You're seeing so much of the picture all at once, and it's just blowing me away how balanced and consistent it is, just going all the way around. Because like like you can kind of like what's it like unfocus your eyes,
Yeah.
and you still get like it's not like some of it disappears. You get that full spiral. It's deep black in some of the spiral, but a lot of it's not deep black, but it's very consistent in how much is deep black and how much is this, it's really, I just like seriously, like, I'm an art director essentially, when it comes to comic books, and I have to produce these things. And what I do most of the time is I walk around the comic conventions and I got to find the right artists, to try to partner with different books and to work on things. And I'm always looking for the people who have an eye for design and have made a poster for themselves that's in balance and has a real nice, use of empty space and things like that. And holy crap, man, every piece that I see from you is just so
I was going to
well
say you
utilized.
hit like all the points that is throughout
Oh,
his artwork. It's just like got
wow, what
all
a
of that you're
beautiful, that's a
talking about.
skateboard.
Yeah.
Dude,
So actually,
I want this.
so real quick, I entered
You
that
see this,
piece
Julie?
into a skate deck competition.
Go look up at the screen. It's so fucking pretty. Yeah, do you got a
Back in
store?
Utah.
We gotta like link everybody to your
Yeah, yeah.
store.
We're gonna hook them all up. We haven't even
absolutely.
begun to talk
Wait a
to
second.
Bo.
Is that skateboard in the corner? Or is that a different
No,
one?
that's a woodburn.
Oh wow, man. Oh
But,
wow, you do woodburns too?
I
That's
do.
so
I just
cool.
started
Do you
doing
ever do
woodburns.
like the little carvings, like with like a piece of brass and like the ink? I bet you would do such a so
Oh,
crazy.
like etching?
Etching? Yeah, you
No,
ever do
I
any
want to
etching?
do that. I want to get
Oh
into that for
wow,
sure.
I bet you would do such a good job with
Thank
some of that
you.
stuff. I
That's kind
should
of my
get you to
style,
do a
yeah.
comic book cover on like an etching one time
That's sick.
in the future. Yeah, that would be so cool.
That'd be dope, man.
When I get some bread, I'll hire you.
That'd be rad. I'd appreciate it.
Yeah. Oh,
This
wow.
this
So
piece.
cool.
So I entered this into a skate deck competition back in Utah. There was like 100 boards, I think, that were entered into the gallery, and there's like it was at an art festival, so a couple thousand people voted on their top 3, and I actually ended up winning the whole thing, which is super rad.
Wow, man.
that piece got
You
first
are
place.
so talented, my friend.
Thank you.
Really, like it's so beautiful.
Thank you.
All of you, like seriously, like I would like if I had $1 million, I'd be like, come draw on my walls so that I may be surrounded in this art for my rest of my life.
Oh,
It's
that's so
just
great.
so cool, man. Really,
Thank
like
you.
what a great piece. I mean, with the pyramid and the tree of life and the stairs and like just it's just amazing, and this speaks to that kind of Terry Gilliam thing that you're talking about, just how bold the imagery is. I mean, like, and stairs going up to a door, just very, very simple, but freaking so roots.
It creates mystery. I really like mystery in my pieces. You know,
man.
because
Yeah, no,
the more
it
symbolic and
means
the
so
more
much.
mysterious, the more people it's going to relate to.
Totally.
No, you're 100% right. Whenever I write anything, like song-wise, I'm always trying to sort of scale it down and to make it as less specific as I possibly can, because it's like as long as I know what I'm talking about, it's still an outlet for my pain, and my, the thing that I need to speak about. But the more I can sort of make it as sort of universal and have multiple meanings, it just opens up this door of interpretation for everybody.
Yeah.
Because, it's very, everything's, as we talk about on the show all the time, we live in this polarized world where, there's duality is at every turn. So, you kind of pull away, what you're meaning a little bit. So it's not quite just you. And then all of a sudden, it does dance, Angela. You're a good observation. But like all of a sudden, you're really just like telling a story that everybody can put themselves into, no matter what side of that pendulum, swing they're on. They're like, oh, I get that. I get it from over here. I get it from over here. And oh man, seriously, like it's just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I love this.
So
What
I
else you
appreciate
got
you
for me,
saying
Michael?
that.
Show me more.
There is so much, Jesse. I cannot tell you, first of all, how excited I am at your reaction to seeing this artwork and what's happening right now, because it's
No, as soon as you showed me
the
last week,
energy
I
is
was like,
so
oh,
palpable.
this is
It's
beautiful.
amazing. I love it. But I want to back up for a second
Sure.
because we haven't even begun to talk to Bo.
No, we haven't. But I want everybody to know how brilliant he is before we hear the story.
It's amazing.
So they can appreciate how brilliant who they're talking to.
Yeah, we got so excited about his artwork, and I just started showing it right away. But we have a tradition here at the Live Stream of Consciousness.
It's true.
And that is, each guest that we bring on has their own interpretation of this amazing question. And everybody adds to that answer, and everybody's answer is unique. Bo.
Yeah, we've never gotten the same answer twice. I keep being surprised, actually, that at this point we haven't gotten the same answer twice.
But
we
they're all kind of entwined together.
Oh,
Well,
sure.
What does consciousness mean to you? If you had to define consciousness? What would you say it is?
That's a loaded question. Consciousness. Well, my answer is subjective, right? Just like everyone else's answer is. I mean, I don't know if there's any objective truth about what consciousness is. If we have found it, then I hope that I figure that out. But for me, consciousness is extreme and utter presence.
Got it. Explain.
So my art and my process behind my art has taught me a lot about my own spirituality and my own journey towards vibrating at a higher level of consciousness. For me, like, my pieces are mostly automatic. So like, for instance, the skate deck that you saw, there was no pencil sketching whatsoever. It was all by pen.
About that.
And so I think consciousness is really learning to flow. When I say flow, artists or musicians or actors, they get in a flow state, right? And that in that flow state, everything just kind of disappears. You become one with whatever you're doing. And the reason I've been able to develop my own style over time it's because of my technique and my practice, of course, but it's mostly because of the work I've done internally. I think everyone has their own soul, right? And in order to reach that place within yourself, you have to experience pain and then alchemize that pain into lessons. And so for me, I'm kind of going off on a tangent, but for me, the biggest thing that's made me more conscious of myself, my surroundings, my relationships, and my art is I can put it all in one word, is alchemy. All right. Are either of you familiar with the term alchemy at all?
Absolutely.
Sweet. That's
awesome. You're talking our language.
For our audience, because I don't think we've actually talked about alchemy before, but there's sort of two ways that you can think about alchemy. The traditional sort of thought about alchemy was transmutation, taking one thing and turning it into something else. We would talk about, alchemy, we transmute like coal or lead to gold, but the truth sort of about alchemy comes down to a change of perspective. changing the way you are viewing a thing and looking at a thing, and changing your mind. Alchemy is ultimately all changing your mind, because your mind is creating everything. And by changing your mind, you are creating an alchemical state where things are transforming. As we say so often, with the laws of attraction or the laws of creating, to open yourself up to what is possible, to know that you are ultimately pulling everything forth from the inside of yourself and bringing it forth into the world. By changing that, realizing that you are alchemizing, you're becoming a tool of alchemy to change the world around you. But Bo, I would love to know what your deeper definitions
Nice definition there.
alchemy are.
For sure. No, that's very similar to mine. Like in alchemy, because like you said, there's two different types of alchemy. There's the exoteric, which is the physical, and then the esoteric, which is the spiritual.
Yep.
In esoteric alchemy, to me, it's like it's turning dead, dark, or dormant parts of the soul into gold. So like, if you want to transmute something, it has to come into a completely different state than what it was in before. So if you want to transmute a solid into a gas, action's required, So for me, I had a lot of pain and a lot of trauma from childhood and early adolescence that I allowed to incapacitate me for years during my addiction. But when I chose and made the choice to alchemize it, to transmute it into something beautiful for other people, that's when I really started to like realize, oh, like if I feel like shit, it's my fault. If I am not attracting the things I want, that's on me.
Mm-hmm.
There's a saying within esotericism that says, as above, so below, as within, so without.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that basically means if I want something in my external reality to manifest, if it's not manifesting, that means that my internal world isn't ready for it. And so I have to change my internal world to reflect the outer world that I desire. I don't know if that made sense. But.
Absolutely.
No, that makes total sense. Honestly, and I mean, this is some deep things for, Jesse Blaze Snyder. I've been very much on that journey at this very moment, as I realize the ways that I've kind of shot myself in the foot in my life. A lot of them come from this dualistic journey that I've been on. My father is a famous musician, and doesn't matter that he's famous to other people. He's a big deal to me. I love and look up to him, and I held him in this high regard, and I really kind of set myself up to demonstrate my worth, to show my family that I was worthy of the greatness that I thought of them. And I'm this kind of crazy person who really just like thinks so big, and I, the scale that I will put on to a thing is just, it dwarfs so much of what reality is capable of doing at the moment. And in doing so, I gave myself these lengths that I had to go to satisfy my own soul and to feel as though I did something worth doing. And I never am able to sort of get to that place where I feel like I did it.
Yeah.
And, and changing, realizing that I have to transmute this scale that I've put on myself and bring it into some sort of reasonable equilibrium to something that is within the realm of reason. But I always have this really difficult thing of like, being an idealist. I just like, I don't want to shrink the scale of what I think is possible. So I hesitate to sort of lower the bar. I'm like you want me to lower the bar so I can get over it? Fuck that. I'm going to get over it. But at the same time, though, it's like it's this increasing bar. It's like the more I know and the more I believe and I understand that we can just transmute our realities and all the, it just sort of proves to me that the bar should be even higher than I thought it was. That's right. I'm still a human being.
I've come across that exact same scenario just because I've had very lofty goals, my whole life. Like growing up, especially, it was like I want to be a famous artist, and when I started getting exposure for my work, it got to my head, and I just wanted more and more and more and more of it. So like, I think for what's worked for me is like, and I'm not saying I'm perfect or I have it all figured out because I don't, but like, I think when we're in a state of gratitude, instead of like trying to lower the bar or like make it higher, what if you just like bring the bar to where you're at, stare at it in the face, accept it, and be okay with anything happening. If it goes down, if it goes up, you're cool either way. Because the reason I say that is because what I've noticed in my life, and it's crazy, like if I get into a state of gratitude, right, extreme gratitude for what I have, and I don't chase anything, it comes to me. Like when I stop, like that law of attraction thing, when I stop looking, it looks for me. And like, I think the universe or God or consciousness, whatever you want to call it, knows at our heart of hearts what we really want. But I think we have to be willing to let it go in order to gain it, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. That's what I always say. The people who are looking for control, it's like to get control, all you have to do is let go of control.
But it's hard, dude. Like I struggle with it every day.
Hard. Absolutely.
Like that first piece he showed that was on Facebook. I think I posted in like 5 groups and I got like 20,000 or something likes or whatever. And I was like, oh, I want to do this again. I want to make more money. Blah, blah, blah. And then my Facebook got freaking hacked.
Oh, man.
Crazy. Like, so like, I don't know, like it's a mixture. Everything's non-dualistic, right? I think it's a mixture between being grateful with where you're at, but still moving towards something better at the same time. And when you fall into either one of them, like too much, the universe is like, nope, not going to happen.
Right.
That's how it's been for me.
Right. So part of what we do here on the live stream and part of what we like to talk about is the stories of transformation. And I know for me, once I saw your artwork and I was already a fan, and you had opened up on a post or you started talking about your story, why don't you give us a little bit of your background and what brought you to where you're at? And then I'm going to bring up some more artwork for Jesse, and you can talk about individual pieces, because I know some of them tell different soul stories and things like that, but I want you to tell your story, Bo.
Yeah, and to say even more specifically, like please give us the long version. No need to truncate anything. We would love to hear it. And and it's that journey. Obviously, just like everybody else, we start out very unconscious, and then at a certain point, we kind of go, "Oh, wait a second!" Like real quick, I'll just say, I had a real deep meditation recently, and it was kind of intense, but I was sort of shown creation, and what I was shown was this sort of layered perspective of that God or creation just sort of does what it does, and that at a certain point it becomes conscious of what it has done, and then it layers on top of, like, now acting from a conscious place, it becomes conscious of its conscious action upon the unconscious thing that it created. Then it becomes conscious of the consciousness that, like, and it's literally just a sort of like layering. Yeah, it was kind of like crazy, because it was all like one thing, and it was sort of demonstrating, the thing that is driving you, Bo, when you sit there and you let the art flow, and when it comes right out of you, because it's just like, either you can be a part of this like step-by-step conscious awakening, or you can sort of accept that and let go and be into this sort of unconscious and let it guide you, So the question is, when did you start to step into that unconscious, that consciousness and the unconscious consciousness that I know brings about such incredible work. And what inspired that journey, or what difficulties were it that led you to to get to where you are? Because obviously you are really working at such a high level. It's beautiful.
Thank you. I appreciate you saying that. I'll just kind of go back to childhood and start there, if that's cool.
Yeah, please.
Yeah. Let's hear it.
So I was born to two awesome parents in Orem, Utah. I was raised LDS, so I was raised Mormon.
Oh, okay.
And I think from a very young age, I always knew that something was like wrong. Most of my childhood, I don't really remember. But the parts of it that I do, it was filled with a lot of trauma and a lot of fighting between parents and between me and my parents. And so I personally, as a kid, and when you talk about going into the unconscious, this is kind of where it started happening. At 6 years old, I'm an open book, man. I'm just going to like lay it all out there for my followers.
Awesome.
At 6 years old, I was molested by a neighbor.
Wow.
It wasn't an adult. He's probably 5-6 years older than me. And 3 years later, my parents had a pretty nasty divorce. And so I lost my innocence at a very young age.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't feel emotionally safe or connected with either one of my parents. And so I think when that happens to a child, the consciousness of a child kind of inverts into itself, right? Kind of, it's almost like a waking dream, like art became my comfort pretty early on. Like it was almost like a mirror for me, like a way for me to find myself, because I didn't feel like I could find myself within the family of my origin. And so, I went through a couple divorces as a kid with my parents, and there was a lot of contention at home still, a lot of fighting between my parents having been divorced.
Do you mean that like your parents got remarried and then they separated
Correct.
again?
Yeah. So not a lot of emotional stability for me or my siblings, but to counter that, my parents are awesome. Like they went through a lot, in their own lives, and I have a great relationship with my dad now. Best it's ever been.
Wonderful.
Mom, we could work on that. We're pretty strained relationship right now, but that's a work in progress. All right, we all at about, I'd say 12, 13-ish, I started like drawing graffiti and stuff and really got into that. And at the age of 15, I was in high school art class, and we had to do this project for Black History Month. And I did a portrait of Run DMC, and my whole class was just like, bro, that looks like a photo. And I was like, sick. I'm not like, I really struggled in school. So like, that was like validation for me. I was like, I'm good at something. What?
Yeah.
Like, I was really nervous as a kid. I was super shy. And so after that, man, it was like game over. Like I wanted to be an artist, and that was like my thing. And so
that's a great story.
Yeah, it was super cool, man. So until at like 19, I served a Mormon mission for 2 years. I don't know if you are familiar with missionary work at all.
I mean, not specifically to the Mormons. What did that entail?
So it's 2 years. You get to talk to your family twice a year on the phone. That's it.
Oh wow!
You can't swim, you can't date, you can't watch TV, you can't go on the internet. It's literally like 100 hours a week of riding your bike, walking, and preaching, in suits. So
all right.
Yeah. So I learned Spanish. I was a Spanish-speaking missionary, and those were some hard years. I had never really tried to process my trauma or understand it, and so the mission, because it's so stressful, kind of just highlights whatever you're struggling with, right? And so I came home 6 weeks early, severely suicidal, off and on psychotic, they put me on medication for bipolar. No, not for bipolar, for depression. But I ended up being bipolar, and so they ended up the meds made me more manic. So it was. I mean, I was hallucinating when I got home. I was bedridden for probably 6-7 months.
How old were you now? At 16, you said?
I was 21 when I got back.
Oh, okay. You're 21. You get
my Mormon mission, yeah. So severely suicidal, just wanting to die every day, and you know, with the stress of the mission combined with the trauma of my childhood and all that, it was just I dove straight into addiction. One day my buddy is like, "Hey, like I have Adderall, it might help you get out of bed." And so I tried it, 5 milligrams. It wasn't a lot. And I was like, dude, this is amazing. I can draw all freaking day and not have to sleep or eat. Sweet. So I got addicted to Adderall. I had a prescription for it. And then eventually, so I started off at 5 milligrams a day.
Yeah. And
then 3 or 4 years later, I was snorting 100 milligrams a day plus cocaine.
Oh my goodness.
And I ended up burning bridges with most of my friends and family. Lived in my car for a month. I ended up attempting suicide by myself at a park at 2 a.m. And it was extremely dark. And not to get too detailed, but like during my suicide attempt, I had actually stabbed myself in the stomach. And the knife was halfway in. I knew if I went deeper, I'd die. So, and I was like, I can't do this. So I called the cops on myself, was admitted to a psych ward for a week. And then I lived in a homeless shelter / rehab for about 9 months.
And this is all around the same age? Well, you're 20, 22, 23, 24?
So, yeah. So 21, I got back. And then for the next 3 or 4 years, I was stuck in addiction. And then about 25, 26 is when I had my suicide attempt. And then the homeless shelter.
Now? I'm
29, almost 30.
Some continuity. All right. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm
saying
like
I apologize.
Sober right now. Yeah, the shelter was actually a really powerful experience for me. Actually, I'll back up like 6 years before that. When I got home from my mission, I decided to paint one day, and for some reason I had like this extreme compassion and sentimentality for the homeless. Mm-hmm. So I painted a portrait of a homeless man with a crown on to kind of represent that, regardless of your circumstances, you're still worthy, you're still good, you're still worthy of love. And then 5 years later, I ended up in a homeless shelter. So it's crazy because when I painted that, I called my mom. It was like a spiritual experience. I was like, Mom, I have to tell the stories of the homeless with my art. I don't know why. I just feel this upwelling within me to do it. And then, I ended up in the shelter. And now I do what's called soul stories. So I basically get an hour interview from a client, right? And then tell their story through symbolism, their life story. And those have been a really powerful experience for me because oftentimes I'll draw things that have special significance to them in their lives without me having known anything about it. And so it's like, because of my childhood and the alchemy I've done on myself, I believe I'm able to connect at a deep enough level to like put souls on paper. And I'm very proud of it and what I do. And life is great now. I live in Cali and just moved.
You're out in California? Utah. Where do you live out in California?
San Diego.
Oh, yeah? We'll have to get together one of these days, man.
That'd be rad. Where are you at?
I'm in Garden Grove now.
Garden Grove. How far is that from San Diego?
It's like 3 hours or something like that.
Oh, that's not bad. Yeah.
But
that'd be dope. We can meet halfway or something.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I just gotta, sort of back you up here, going through a divorce, so a lot of this was self-inflicted, but, I didn't want to spend any money on myself. I didn't feel like I was like making enough, to take care of my babies. I've got 4 kids and I wanted to be able to like send money to, to my ex-wife and like take care of them. And, and I was kind of forcing myself to live in my car, sometimes just because I didn't want to put anybody out and I didn't want to do that thing. And, and just the perspective that you get, when you're sitting in that sort of crossroads, I totally understand, that same thing. I had a show that I still want to do, which is really difficult to do, unfortunately, to take homeless veterans and try to give them, demonstrate to people what it really takes to give people a second chance. Because, seeing myself, like, getting out of a relationship and then having to try to reinvent yourself to, because you're trying to keep your ex-spouse and your children housed and clothed and fed, and all of a sudden it doubles the amount of, the housing is like the most expensive thing that anybody deals with in this modern life, to keep yourself like in a house for yourself. And seeing that, I just like saw, even as like my parents, wanted to help me, and or anybody wanted to help me, I saw what it really took to help somebody, and what a huge leap it was. And to give somebody $5 to get a sandwich, it was kind of like a joke. What people needed was a respite from this sort of impending tide that kind of kept crashing on them of a monthly sort of payment to a rent, and like, it is such a crazy, sort of thing, the way the modern world goes around, and it has become really untenable. And and I applaud you for trying to do anything to help homelessness and homeless people, because it really it's such a crashing tide. And when you're dealing with depression and anxiety, and something I know too much about, you're dealing with something that is already coming like that at you, this tide of sort of like, oh, I don't think I can do anything today, I'm going to crawl up into a ball, and it's so easy to just take yourself off of the map and go, well, let's just lie down here and give ourselves a moment.
Sunshine is saying, thank you for sharing your journey and paying it forward. I certainly, Bo, and I do have to thank you for opening up like that to our audience. And the truth of the matter is, and this is how amazing your story is, and how it's going now, because that's what you're in control of, right? You've taken control of the story, and this is where you're at now. And to see, I mean, I even heard recently, now you said you have an agent who is helping you print your work, sell your work, like, you're doing your artwork, which is what you love, and it's kind of taking care of you now, right?
It's taken a long time to get to this point, but I have my agent basically helped me sell my soul stories, because that's kind of like my main thing right now that most people want. So he'll do the calls with them and set up my appointments and all that, and it's really cool to like.
Well, it does seem to be like kind of where the power is. I'm going to bring some of these drawings back. Let's see if I know you did give me a couple of the soul stories to look at. This is,
oh wow, man, how beautiful is that? Amazing. What did you do here? Is this on a certain sort of like parchment or something that is giving it this yellow tone? Or
the yellow tone was digital. It was originally just a black and white ink drawing.
Amazing, really cool. It gives it an extra level of something. And so I wanted to point out to the audience too, how powerful is that? Bo's spoke about a lot of things that I know a lot of people don't like to talk about, but I always try and talk about the darkest shit I can, because I realize that like that's the stuff that everybody doesn't want to talk about, because they think it's depowering. It's not depowering. To hear somebody go, this happened to me and it was really hard, and then I moved past it. Like that's the shit that really matters. And most people can't admit to the really hard things that they've experienced in their life that have formed them. And there's so much power in connecting to those ideas and bringing them forth to other people to say, hey, this is what formed me and this is what I learned. And thank you so much.
What's the story of this piece here? Why don't we talk about the pieces as we're looking at them?
So this piece, this was actually like, I did this a couple of weeks before my suicide attempt, right before the shelter.
Wow.
So the man in the middle represents the face I would show to the world, like a face of indifference, you know, like I had this like I felt like a black hole in the center of my chest, like nothing was ever enough. Like I was sucking everything good out of my life into myself and spitting out venom. Like I just felt like a terrible person because of the way I was acting in my addiction, but I didn't know how to
Wow.
stop it. So the guy on the right on the pedestal represents who I was inside, or who I felt I was, which is just full of shame for what I had done or what I was doing. Um, and then the steps on the right say "Que non videnter," which is Latin for "things are not as they seem." And you can see there's a little chameleon on top of the steps, kind of representing like I could be a chameleon in any situation. I could be whoever people wanted me to be, but I didn't know who I was. And so like I was like screaming on the inside, like someone help me, but I didn't have the words for it, you know? And so art for me was just like a desperate need or a way for me to connect with people that I didn't feel I could connect with on my own. So this piece was a cry for help, for sure.
Wow, this is so amazing. And really, like I was saying earlier, the energy in these pieces, you could feel the energy and even that cry for help, like you're saying. So let's move on to the next one. What do we got going on here?
So this piece was just a small soul story for my friend Kimberly. Shout out to Kimberly, she's rad. Um, it was very esoteric in nature. She wanted some pretty crazy symbolism, but I liked doing it. What's insane to me though, that temple in the middle, um, I saw a picture of it and there was no tunnel whatsoever, right? And I was like, oh, it'd be cool to add a tunnel. Like that'd look cool. I searched it. Turns out there was a tunnel in that exact same spot discovered underneath the ground like 3 years ago.
Wow,
Like, what the fuck, dude?
No
Like,
coincidences,
crazy.
my friend.
crazy, dude. Like, I don't know how
Amazing.
to explain it,
You're
but
channeling it from somewhere, right?
I
Yeah.
know, man.
That's
I know.
Oh, it's so
amazing.
clear that he's channeling so many things. It's the geometry,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
of your pieces is really apparent. I mean, really,
Well, also too, as you're
spacing
saying
and-
it, I just feel like there's this connection with something ancient, like whatever it is that's ancient about the art of illustration itself. You know what I mean? It's like you're really almost connecting with that essence, you know?
Yeah, it's weird, man. Like, without sounding too woo woo, like my pieces feel guided. It
Yeah,
doesn't like I definitely had to develop the skill to get to that point, but like
right,
it's weird. Like I believe it was the Greeks that said that whenever someone pursues a creative passion, the more and more they do it, the more their soul actually grows.
right. Yeah,
So it's
yeah.
like I feel
Doesn't
like
sound woo woo at all. That's
yeah,
what we promote here. That's what we're
yeah,
all
man.
about.
I love this one, Bo. Can we turn this into wallpaper?
Yeah, man. You can screenshot it and turn it into it if you want.
Oh wow, it's
No, I
so
think he actually
beautiful.
means he wants to wallpaper a room, like
Yeah,
Oh,
an
okay.
yeah.
entire room.
Seriously,
That could be
can I
cool.
wallpaper my room with this?
I don't
Do you
know if
ever
it's
work?
big
Do you
enough.
ever work in colors, or or is everything all pen and ink? Have you ever had anybody
So my
color your
color
work?
stuff is mostly digital. I don't really do
Uh-huh.
a lot of color, but I can do it with watercolor or like Copic markers, but
Yeah.
I'm
Right.
usually just prefer black and white.
Have you ever had anybody work over your stuff and color on top of some of your black and whites?
Mm-mm. I don't
No?
think so. No.
So I did see. Why don't you tell us? I saw on your Facebook you were delivering a print to some celebrity people, huh?
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about some of that and how that came about.
Okay. Talk about law of attraction, dude. We were just talking about it.
Yeah.
Oh
So I was
wow.
like really exhausted in my business. I was just super tired and didn't have a lot of energy left. And so I was like, okay, how can I change my vibe? You know? So I went up to the mountain, meditated for like 2 hours, and just got into a state of extreme gratitude. And I was just like crying for everything that had happened because like that piece behind me, the one that you just put up,
Yeah. I'll put it
that
back up.
piece got like 3 million views in a week on Reddit.
Wow.
And
So beautiful.
from there, I had so
It's
much
so
business for
ridiculous.
just the next year, you know?
Yeah.
And so I had so much to be grateful for. I just wasn't being grateful. And so I got into a state of gratitude. That night, I went to go sing karaoke and I like was up on stage singing like I think it was Fergie, and I was like
My
twerking or
humps.
something, like something super weird. Exactly. And this dude comes up to me. He's like, "Hey man, we're putting on a private concert for Lil Xan tonight. You wanna come?" And I was like, "Okay." And he's like, "You should do a piece of art for him," because I showed him my art. I'm like, "Okay." So did a piece of art for Lil Xan. Got a picture with him. And then at Lil Xan's concert, I met a dude from Nitro Circus. His name's Brandon Schmidt. Shout out to Schmitty.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, "Dude, I'm going out to Travis Pastrana's house next week. Do you want to do a piece for him?" I was like, "Yeah." So
Yeah.
did a piece for Travis Pastrana, and then hung out with him at his house for a full day. Like it was the coolest thing ever. And that was all because I changed my vibe. Like a lot of people be like, "Oh, it's just luck or circumstance." No, it's gratitude, man.
I'm
Like
trying
gratitude,
to, yeah, totally. I'm
gratitude
trying to
brings
find
you
it. I
more
want to bring
things
it
than
up,
you're
but
grateful for, you know.
I don't know.
You
If I
know,
can.
the thing that I can say about that, for those of you, who are regulars of the show, the things that I care about the most are comic books and music. Those are my two loves. I am the most successful. I'm one of the more prolific voiceover actors of my generation. And it is because I don't care about that. I don't care about my voice. I don't care. It's not what I pursued. It's not the skill that I've honed. I have honed the skill sort of by virtue of doing it a lot, but it wasn't what I was going after. I was studying comics so that I could be the greatest comic book writer who ever lived. I was studying music so I could be the greatest songwriter who ever lived. Those things have been my biggest struggles because of how much I cared and how much thought I put into sort of inventing myself. However, not really trying, not really caring, being open to whatever, and okay, yeah, sure, I'll do that, has led me to a prolific career in voiceover. And it showed me as I, worked with, sort of plant medicine and other things, and I was presented with that notion of, if you just let it come, it'll come. I saw immediately that that was true, and that the biggest struggle that I had was that I wasn't letting anything come. I cared so much that I was micromanaging my career, and in micromanaging my career, I was blocking my career in as many ways as I possibly could.
Yep.
And it's to open yourself up and to allow those opportunities to come in, as you see that Bo did. What another amazing piece! It's a library inside a tree. That is
Let me go back
gorgeous.
to that one. Yeah, let's.
Every one of your pieces, Bo. I mean, seriously, they're all just beautiful.
Thank you, man.
I hope that our audience will get your back and be supporting you for years to come, because it is just so deserved. What incredible!
I think
work.
you know what I think we're gonna do. I was talking about earlier. I want to figure this out, but I think I want to start like auctioning pieces, almost like have a guest on the show and have people, spend, here's $5 for a raffle to win this piece. You know what I mean? And just like support people that way. But we'll
great
figure
idea.
that stuff out. So I wish I was a little better prepared with the little Zam piece.
Are you doing the frame
border?
as well? The
Yes.
border. That's beautiful.
Thank you. I love filigree. That's one of my favorite things to draw.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it shows in your work that you appreciate that stuff.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you saying that.
Yeah, it's just honestly, it's all filigree. Like that's why your work is so beautiful, because it's like it's really, really unique and original kind of filigree.
Thank you. Yeah, I kind of developed my own style with it. It's fun.
Yeah,
that's a soul story right there. So a client told me his life story, and then I converted it into symbolism for him.
And that's also a part of the power of what you're doing here, is because I mean, I don't even feel like I need to know what the soul story is, but I feel like I've been told the soul story. I feel
you feel it, man.
You know what I mean? Like
that's
I feel.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's like, Bo, I got to tell you, and I don't think I've ever said this, is your artwork is probably the most palpable to me, as far as like looking at the artwork and making a connection with it and just feeling like, I don't know, like it's a part of me, I'm a part of it or something. Like it's just really amazing. I got to tell you, thank you so much for bringing that to the world, my friend.
Thank you for saying that. That means the world,
what a good job. What a good job. I can't even believe it's been an hour. I feel like we barely even got to talk to you. Yeah, I feel like we barely got to talk to you, but will you come back if we want you back and
I
talk
love
to us,
it. That'd
talk
be
to us a
rad.
Yeah,
little bit more?
and Bo, can you tell us, like, I guess the question would be, what's the next step in your journey? I can feel, this wonderful place that you've gotten to of real appreciation and understanding, sort of about where you're coming from and where you're going and how things work. What are you gonna take all this brilliant wisdom? What are you gonna do with it? What do you plan to do with it?
That's a great question. I'm glad you asked it because I was gonna say something. I kind of so I talked about having that experience where I needed to share the stories of the homeless.
Mm-hmm.
I set up a GoFundMe to raise $20,000 to tell soul stories of the homeless and then donate a portion of the profits of the stories that I tell to the people whose stories I tell.
Oh, that's amazing.
So basically the $20,000 would go to funding a marketing campaign, videography of me going into shelters and interviewing the homeless people. There you go. We've raised a couple $100 already. I think I posted it within the last week, which is awesome. So super grateful for everyone that's already donated. And basically, like, my message is, like, everyone has worth regardless of circumstances. And I believe that the homeless, the addicted, the psychotic, they're the people that have the most to teach us. And I also believe that the more pain you have and the more of it you overcome, the more greatness you're capable of. So I think we just need to see the potential of these people and kind of bring them out of their despair through art, and that's my goal. So
yeah, and the more wisdom you have to impart. I always said that I hope that all of the struggles that I've gone through in my life, that they would amount to something. Experience fire, experience loss. That all these things were teaching me something, and that perhaps to experience a life of ease, you're not very valuable to those around you, but to experience a life of great difficulty in as many ways as possible makes you so valuable to those around you who might be experiencing that same difficulty as well.
If you choose to be.
Yeah. But I mean, obviously, you
I'm
are
putting up the URL there,
embodying
but
that,
it's
my
a
friend.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, please, everybody, go and
I
and
made
if
it
you
a
got
link in the
spread
chat. It's probably easier. Yeah,
to support this fabulous cause. I so dear to my heart, and Bo, I all respect to you for putting your love and your passion there. It's awesome. You should go to some comic conventions as well and sell prints of your work.
I need to.
I think the audience of people like myself who love graphic art would so appreciate your work. I don't know if you've done the designer con that they do out here in Los Angeles.
No, I've had people tell me I need to do like Comic-Con, Designer Con, and stuff like that.
Designer Con is a really great place for you to go. I think people would lose their minds. Like, I bought a T-shirt of somebody who's got a little bit of a similar kind of style to yours, like a $30 T-shirt or whatever. You blow this person away.
Thanks,
and no offense to them, they're very talented people, but I mean, like, but really, I know that you would really turn some heads and be able to spread your message a little further and probably make some money, and it really would be a place to go to be appreciated. That's my favorite convention to go to. That's out in Los Angeles, the designer convention. Like, it's really
that'd be awesome, man.
Place to
Designer
be.
Con.
Yeah, if there's any dots I can connect for you, I'll see what I can.
I appreciate it. Yeah, because I'd like to know when it is.
Just came. Yeah, it just happened. So I think it would be like next year.
Okay.
Around November.
That's
is
fine.
Like kind of around the time when it happens. But it would be a great place for you to go to get some of your art out there, because
it's a great recommendation. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and of course, there's a lot of people looking for people like you there. So it's a good place of the
make those
connection.
Yeah.
Of people
absolutely.
looking for the right artists, and you are the right artist for so many things.
Totally. And Bo, I think just between you and me, just the same way kind of I became friends with Brian. It's like I like to connect with Brian once a week or so on StreamYard. I sit at my work and I call him up and we talk. I'm probably going to be in touch with you.
Cool.
I love talking to you, man. You are such a bright light, and it's so great that somebody who has such amazing recognition and gratitude for the darkness that it took to make them into that light. I think that's super important, and that comes through. And I think that is going to be so inspirational to people who really need to see that beacon. You know what I mean? And it's not just your artwork; it's also just your personality and just your being, man. So
Thank you, man.
it was great to have you. Thank you everybody for watching. Jesse, I don't know if you've got any closing thoughts.
Oh, Mike, I just kind of want to say, like, Bo, do you have any closing thought, any final words, or for the audience who's got to hear this story, and who might be? I mean, both me and Michael immediately we went straight to a place of, wow, this is so inspiring to me. He makes me want to draw. So I guess my question would be, do you have any advice for anybody out there who's like seeing your work and going, I want to do that. I want to be able to put my heart out on my sleeve like that. What would you say to them?
I would say, like, people ask me oftentimes, how do I draw like you? And what I say is, most people don't like to hear it, but you can't. You can only draw like you.
Yeah.
So I think the more internal work you do on yourself, whether that's through art or therapy or meditation or yoga or psychedelics, what have you, whatever you do is going to transfer over into your art. And the deeper you connect with that internal universe within yourself, the more you can connect with the paper. So that's what I would say.
Yeah, that's I love that answer, man. I feel like that's exactly perfect. As you were saying it, I could picture the more that somebody would do that, the more that what it is that they want to draw like appears. You know what I mean? That's what comes out of them. They then, you know what I mean? So it's like, that's awesome. I love it.
If I could just point to something for those looking at Bo's art and really the beauty that's going on here. If you look at every little detail of Bo's work, there's not a single portion of it that is necessarily overtly perfect, or like superficially perfect. A lot of people try and make each little line that's put on the page this perfect thing. The thing that gives the strength to Bo's artwork is the balance and the totality, of what is there, the communication that's going on. Me and Michael, we're saying, we look at your work and we go, wow, I feel their story automatically. The most important thing is that you're conveying your message and telling the story, and that's what Bo's doing. And on any level, if you want to try to be more like Bo, like, forget about superficially being perfect and be as clear and consistent in your communication, because that's what leads to the perfection that is a piece of Bo's work. I mean, it is perfect, but if you go and micro look at everything, it's not so perfect as it's perfect in its balance, and it's perfect in its connection to the totality of the thing. And it's perfectly suited to each piece, and that's so much more important than over focusing on one little image of somebody's face or one little image of a root. It's not about that one little root. It's about the fucking dozen roots that Bo has drawn into this tree of life. And all of those together equal perfect, And
it's easy to drive yourself crazy with the little things, and kind of off topic, just before we head out, huge shout out to my father and my brother Dakota, my dad David, my brother Dakota, for all their support since I've gone out to San Diego. All my extended family support, my friends. I have a lot of really good friends. Another big thing, support system. That's super important. I have a great support system. It's taken me a long time to find it, but I love you, Michael Muscatello and Garrett, and everyone else. You know who you are. So
we love your support system, Bo. Thank you guys for being there for Bo and bringing him into my path and bringing him into the show's path and all of that. And Angela,
and did we get a link to Bo's website?
Yeah, I got it. There was a link going on throughout the show for his link tree, which was all of his links, and now here's his Instagram up there at the bottom of the screen.
Well, seriously, Bo, thank you so much for coming on the show, and thank you for sharing your story with us. Like nothing but the highest respect to you, and we wish you the best in your ongoing pursuit to be a most famous artist. You are already a very famous artist amongst the duo here on the show. We are nothing but in awe of your great work, especially that it comes from this deep place in your heart. And thank you for being here today on the live stream of consciousness. I hope we can get you back, and I have an excuse to get to oogle more of your beautiful artwork, because it really
Thank you, Jesse.
Stick around, stay backstage, bro, and we'll talk to you after the show.
All right, sounds
everybody else, thank you so much for showing up to the live stream of consciousness, and we will see you next week. Peace.
The greatest trick the devil ever